Hello and welcome back to another wonderful Ponytown news update video. Today we have ourselves version 0.88.2. It is now autumn. They continued construction and they changed a lot of things that have to do with actions and the action menus. It's quite a large update here today. As you can see, if we just scroll through here, there's mostly fixes and optimizations and things like that, and also reducing of memory usage, whatever that means. But there are a lot of new things as well. They, of course, added autumn. Autumn is obviously the season of fall or whatever like that. It's a term that is used in both fall, autumn. They're interchangeable, really, but they decided to call it autumn for whatever reason. Probably because of where they're from, it's called autumn. I don't know, but they continued the construction site, so the construction site actually looks a little bit different than what it used to. They added the vertical action bar with 10 extra action slots, so now you have this vertical action bar thing that you can add actions to, and you can add up to 10 actions to that action bar. It's actually quite useful, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to find it very useful as well, especially on mobile. They added an action menu setting to enable the vertical action bar, so this will not be enabled by default if you've never had it on before, or if you do things weird or whatever like that. It is and should, however, be enabled by default on mobile, so if you can't find it for whatever reason, go to your settings, there's a setting for it, and you can enable it. They added zoom in and zoom out actions. That's right, now you can zoom in and zoom out on mobile much easier than ever before, because, you know, previously on mobile you had to click the settings icon and then click the plus button or whatever, and so on and so on. Now there's actions for zooming in and out, so you don't have to open up a bunch of unnecessary menus to be able to zoom in and out. This, like I said, I was referring to it for mobile users. This is going to be very useful for mobile users, but on keyboard and mouse, you're literally never going to use these actions, so don't even worry about those. If you're curious, on keyboard and mouse, just press O and P on your keyboard and it will zoom in and out. They added 3-ish to 4-ish new items to the placeable objects. So they added rotated beds. So now there is a front-facing bed and a back-facing bed. They, of course, added a fall version of the stone arc with the vines and everything like that. They added a tiny stump. And they added smaller and tiny snow sand piles. It's actually quite lovely and probably very useful. They added haptic and visual feedback to mobile action editing, so when you're messing with all that stuff, you might feel a little bit of vibration and things like that on your phone and stuff. That's basically what that means. Don't worry too much about it. It probably won't affect you too much. They added action menu setting to disable the haptic feedback, so even if it does affect you for whatever reason, you can of course disable it. They added transparency to the settings gear when UI was disabled, so in case you're curious, previously when you had the disabled UI thing toggled on, all the UI would be, gone except the gear icon, but now the gear icon is slightly faded. It's still there, but it is slightly faded, so it will be a little bit more out of your way. That, personally, for me, is going to be something that is very useful. They added an info message when trying to use the magic drop and drop toy actions when they aren't available. So if you try to use magic and that's not available, it will now give you a message. Same thing with the drop toy actions and things like that. They added an indicator showing the selected server in the server list, so now you know what server you've selected and don't have to be like, oh, I thought I was in the other one. You know, you can see it better and things like that. They adjusted the default actions and things like that. They changed mobile action editing to require hold and drag, so now you have to actually hold the action to move it. And what this allows them to do is remove the scroll bar, so now you don't have to have that tiny little scroll bar, which makes it very impossible to, or very difficult, I should say, to move your actions around and things like that. Now you have to actually hold it and move it, and you can just swipe it. It will do all those things. It's much easier to control and things like that right now. So that's basically all that is. They improved the action menu to hide the building button on mobile, so that will sort of hide that now. They improved actions to not be grayed out while editing, so if you're editing your actions, they won't be grayed out anymore. They improved use, interact, and remove toolbox, restore toolbox actions to be grayed out when not available. So if you can't interact with anything, the use, interact action will now be grayed out and you can't see it. And same thing with the other stuff. They improved the chat log to allow smaller chat log heights, so now you can make that thing even tinier. They improved player names getting cut and low width chat log. They improved info message when trying to join with an unsaved pony above pony limit. that one's a mouthful, and I hope you understand that one because I don't understand it as well as I should. They improved interact range of some objects, so some objects you might have a little bit of better range on interacting with them and things like that. And then of course they fixed a bunch of things. They fixed, of course, the spam filter incorrectly catching / roll in whispers. So if you are rolling a lot in whispers, which people do roll a lot in whispers for different mini games and things like that, it shouldn't spam, you know, it shouldn't mute you for spam or anything like that. Now that was a mouthful, that was a lot of things, but now I'm gonna show you some of those things with the power of magic. So here we are. These are the new things. You can walk right over these. There's of course a snow variant of these and things like that, but other than that, that's pretty much the objects that we have that are new. Of course, the beds, which I'm pretty excited about because now we can perhaps make accurate homes now. Put these in more lovely positions and places and things like that. I find it absolutely hilarious that we've had beds for probably a year or two, and we're only just now getting like vertical options for those. It's insane to me. Same thing with the stumps, really. We've had the stumps forever, and we're only just now getting the tiny stump, so that's nice. And then of course we have the stone archway with the autumn variant of it or whatever. So you can count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new objects, or you can count it as about 3 objects. It really depends on how you want to count it, but those are the new objects that we got. Now before we go to the main map to show you that new construction and everything like that, let me show you guys the actions and how they are a little bit different. So if I go ahead and click this thing in the top right, I can actually disable my UI first. We're going to disable the UI thing first. So you can see how the gear icon is now slightly more faded. It's still there, you can still see it, but it is more faded, and of course we can re-enable that. Now let's go to the actions and stuff. So if we click the action thing here, you can see how there's all these different things, and if we go to options, we can enable the vertical action bar or disable the haptic feedback. Now the haptic feedback you're not going to really see on PC. This is just for like mobile devices and things like that. So if we enable the vertical action bar, you can see how we get vertical actions over here. Quite lovely. It works exactly the same as your action bar down here on the bottom, but it's on the right side instead. So we can go to actions and we can put our zoom out, zoom in. That didn't go in. There we go. Zoom out, zoom in thing right here. And it even shows that you can press P and O to actually zoom in and out if you're on keyboard. So that's really lovely and nice to have. But this vertical action bar here on the right side is mostly going to be useful if you're on mobile, because if you're on mobile and you have all these actions and you're switching between mobile and PC, all these actions, you only see like maybe 5 of them on mobile, maybe 4 or 5 of them on mobile at any given time. This thing here on the right side will be visible basically all the time, as long as you don't make it too long or anything like that. So this is going to be extremely useful, but basically, like you just saw, just click and drag, or if you're on mobile, hold it down, it'll eventually allow you to move it, and then you can move it over there and drop it in place. It's very simple, very easy, and of course, actions still work the same way they've always worked. You can just grab it and just let it go somewhere and it will go away forever. So I hope that it explains the actions very well. Who knows if they did? I sure hope they did, but I hope that explained them well. Let's move on to the last thing that's on this list. I believe what is the last thing on this list, and that is of course the new thing, the new thing. So, as you can see, the construction site is a little bit different than what it was previously. There is actually more construction going on. There's actual ground now. They've actually placed some of this wood down. They're installing the floor, the foundation, if you will, in multiple different places. So we got one down there, of course, one over here, and if we move on over here, there's another bit of wood here, and then if we move even a little bit more, boom, there's even more wood here. It seems like we're gonna get about 4 new buildings, 1, 2, 3, 4 new buildings. Now, this could be just placeholders for now, and then maybe we'll get less or more later, but for now we have 4 different foundations, so it appears that we're going to get 4 new buildings. Hopefully that is the case, but who knows? Let me know in the comments below what you guys think these buildings will be, because I'm very curious of what you guys think they might be. Now we also have this flower box. I'm not sure the idea behind this flower box. I'm not really sure what the thought process is behind this, or why this is the way it is. Like, I guess maybe they're working on construction or whatever, so they're just like, hey, let's just put all these flowers in here. It'd be a shame to just bulldoze over them. Let's put them in a box somewhere and move on with our lives, I guess. I don't know, maybe they're moving them somewhere. I don't know. Maybe it's a hint that this is going to be a flower shop. Who knows? I don't know. It's been forever since I saw what they were actually supposed to be, so I don't even remember. But we have all kinds of different things here. Again, let me know what you think they're going to be putting here in these 4 different little spots. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this update video. There's not really anything else to go over for the update, other than, of course, I guess I could mention how this thing is grayed out because I can't interact with anything. You can see on the far right side, or even on my bottom actions, I can't interact with anything, so this thing is grayed. But if I move over to this mushroom, I can interact with something, so it flashes back into color. And you can just go back and forth between that's grayed out, that's not grayed out, that's grayed out, that's not grayed out, back and forth, back and forth. Hopefully this doesn't become too annoying for anyone, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yes, that does do it for the video. I do hope that you enjoyed. People are starting to recognize me, so it is now a fair time to sign off. I do hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all those wonderful things like that. Because when you do those wonderful things like that, not only get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful yourself. And I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.